what is happening. At a very minimum, we should be shining a light on what is taking place and let people for themselves see. And that is what the Oversight Committee can do. Now, we are obviously in the minority at this moment, but it doesn't stop me from being able to do field hearings in the form of like shadow field hearings, where we're going across the country and we're letting people's neighbors be the ones to testify.
Oh yes, ladies and gentlemen, once again, this is Fred Wanko coming to you from our studios in Chicago with another edition of Bold Talk on Island TV. And as usual, I like to say good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to you, depending on where you are around the world. Folks, the intro we had today was US Representative Jasmine Crockett. She's a star, not by her looks or by her noise or by her rhetoric, but by the substance she brings to political discussion in America. I brought her today to parallel what she does in the US with what Senator Natasha Akpoti does in Nigeria, and ask Nigerians and challenge Nigerians, home and abroad, to say, why are we such lip service people and we never give substance to the lip service support we have for the few, the very few Nigerians that are fighting our fights? What has Senator Natasha Akpoti done wrong in Nigeria except the fact that she's a woman that stands up for the rights of the people and demands that chauvinistic men that are so-called leaders in Nigeria allow her to do her job the best she can to represent her constituents and ultimately represent Nigerians who believe in what she's doing? As we speak, Senator Natasha Uduaghan, besides the fact that she's suspended from the Senate, is in court, sued by the federal government in a case that has nothing to do with the federal government, but has to do with Senator Akpabio and former governor of Kogi State, Yaya Bello, who she accused of plotting to assassinate her. I am not saying her accusation has any basis, but that's not my place. And that's not the federal government's place. That case belongs in the court of law. That case should be brought by Senator Akpabio and former governor Yaya Bello. That case has nothing to do with the federal government. And here is the shame of Nigeria, that priorities are screwed up. Nigerians say nothing. In this parodied interview of House of Rep member Jasmine Crockett, I want you to pretend that Jasmine Crockett is Senator Natasha Akpoti, and I want you to pretend that everywhere Jasmine Crockett references Donald Trump, that it is Senator Akpoti referencing Bola Ahmed Tinubu. And the one place where Jasmine Crockett referenced Joe Biden, I want you to pretend that that was Senator Akpoti referencing Joe Biden. And at the conclusion, why Jasmine Crockett says why she wants to run for the position she's running for, I want you to pretend that it's Senator Akpoti telling Nigerians why she does what she does to fight corruption in Nigeria. And after that, we'll talk a little about the tomfoolery going on between Donald Trump, Elon Musk, and Steve Bannon in the US, and compare that to the tomfoolery going on between Bola Ahmed, Onyesom Wike, and Senator Godswill Akpabio.
But when we think about where we are in this country, when we think about the level of lawlessness, corruption, unethical behavior that is taking place, I don't know that I can say that I believe that we would ever get to the point that we could actually impeach and convict him so that he's out of office, and he should have been convicted and he didn't. and in fact, he ended up being elected. I don't know that that's necessarily the way that we need to go. But I do believe that we should educate the people about the violations that are taking place as it relates to emoluments clause as part of the Constitution and the other constitutional violations that he's engaging in. As well as I think that we need to do the investigations and discover what is going on. What was this dinner about where people are wearing masks and don't even want to be seen going in there? What's going on with the various pardons that are being given out after certain donors drop a lot of money into his pocket? What's going on with the fact that I think they said 40% of his wealth right now has actually accumulated since he's been in office? I mean, I'm not allowed to make any money at all. I mean, a book deal is quite complicated for me as a low member of one of 435 in the House, yet he is accumulating wealth and his family members, and he's putting them on trips and they're going out beforehand, and the next thing you know, like, there's all kinds of stuff going on with the Saudi government. There's all kinds of stuff that's going on with the what is happening. At a very minimum, we should be shining a light on what is taking place and let people for themselves see. And that is what the Oversight Committee can do. Now, we are obviously in the minority at this moment, but it doesn't stop me from being able to do field hearings in the form of like shadow field hearings, where we're going across the country and we're letting people's neighbors be the ones to testify about their experiences, whether they are former employees for the federal government, whether they are someone who is supposed to be receiving government aid of some sort. We need to make sure that people understand what's happening. And I think that there is no one better who can not only do the work, do the investigations, but can also make sure that the word gets out and is communicated. Because regardless of how people may feel, I will always say that
President Goodluck Jonathan
was one of the best presidents that we've ever had. But ultimately, it didn't matter if people didn't know what all he was doing. And so I don't want us to get caught in that same way. And it's why I'm throwing my name into the hat to run to be the ranker.
Now, let me conclude with the tomfoolery going on in America between Donald Trump, Elon Musk, and Steve Bannon. As Nigerians, we should look at what's going on between this trio in America and think about what's going on in Nigeria between Bola Ahmed, Tinubu, Onyesom Wike, and Akpoti. Same mess. Why do I say that? Nigeria's prayers should be that the Gen Z and the obedience and the few among the older population that have the balls to keep challenging Bola Ahmed, Tinubu, and Wike and Akpoti, and the rest of the crooks they're working with. Our prayer should be that we keep this pressure going towards 2027. It is not necessarily us that's going to unravel these crooks. They're going to be raveled within their own ranks. But with that said, the best way to conclude this is with a masterpiece of presentation from Lawrence O'Donnell dealing with Donald Trump's tomfoolery dating back to 2016 and what's been unraveling in the last week as he fell apart with his chief financier, Elon Musk.
And on the 136th day of his presidency, the wheels came off the Trump crazy train. Donald Trump was humiliated once again today in the Oval Office on the world stage, sitting in exactly the same humiliation chair where he has been repeatedly humiliated by visiting heads of state from Europe. Today, it was the German chancellor's turn to sit beside Donald Trump and humiliate him, but that got overshadowed by someone who was not even in the room today. Donald Trump became the first president in history to get humiliated by two people at the same time, with one of them not even being in the room. The richest person in the world, who Donald Trump now claims he fired last week, was live tweeting Donald Trump's stupidity festival in the Oval Office, saying, among other things, Donald Trump should be impeached. Donald Trump is by far the stupidest person any European head of state has ever had to meet. And Donald Trump is so stupid, he didn't realize the French president sitting beside him was humiliating him when he was the first one to visit during this presidency. The next one was the British Prime Minister who humiliated Donald Trump without Donald Trump realizing it, of course. Donald Trump humiliated himself, and when President Volodymyr Zelensky humiliated Donald Trump during their meeting in which Donald Trump lost control, egged on by his buffoonish vice president, while President Zelensky showed the world what courage and leadership actually look like. Germany's Chancellor, Friedrich Merz, had to do what every other head of state, including South Africa's president, had to do in the Oval Office, which is, of course, to correct the unlimited stupidity of Donald Trump. You will see that correction of Trump's stupidity in a moment, and then, of course, we will turn to what has become the Musk versus Trump war. This is not a feud. This is the world's two craziest, most dangerous rich people, each trying to find a way now to completely destroy the other. Not feud with the other, destroy the other. Elon Musk is now calling for the impeachment of Donald Trump. Donald Trump is now calling for cutting off all government contracts with Elon Musk's companies. Steve Bannon, Trump ally, is now calling for Elon Musk to be deported. All out madness has broken out in Trump world with Donald Trump at the center of the madness, causing all of the madness. But before we turn to that, we'll focus on that moment in the Oval Office today. That was another moment of disgrace for Donald Trump. Donald Trump showed his juvenile goofiness and sheer ignorance when he laughed, yes, laughed about tomorrow's anniversary of D-Day, thereby taking his new place in history as the first president in history to laugh about D-Day, a day when no one in the Trump family was killed, but 2,501 American soldiers were killed storming the beaches of Normandy on this country's most heroic and history-changing single day of warfare. U.S. Army General Dwight Eisenhower, who was in command that day, later becoming President Eisenhower, made the brilliant and difficult decision to choose June 6th, 1944, for the D-Day invasion of France at the English Channel, which was France being then controlled by Nazi Germany. The success of the D-Day invasion was the beginning of the end of World War II and the beginning of the end of the reign of terror and genocide in Germany by Adolf Hitler, who many German generals had already been plotting to assassinate before D-Day and after D-Day. The German Chancellor brought up the D-Day anniversary as an example of the kind of allied effort that is needed now to save Ukraine.
We all are looking for measures and for instruments to bring this terrible war to an end. And may I remind you that we are having June 6th tomorrow. This is D-Day anniversary, when the Americans once ended a war in Europe. And I think this is in your hand in specific, in ours.
That was not a pleasant day for you?
No, that was not a pleasant.
This was not a great
in
day.
the long run, Mr. President, this was the liberation of my country from Nazi dictatorship.
That's true.
So,
that's true.
And we know what we owe you. But this is the reason why I'm saying that America is again in a very strong position to do something on this war and ending this war. So let's talk about what we can do jointly, and we are ready to do what we can. And you know that we gave support to Ukraine, and that we are looking for more pressure on Russia. The European Union did, and we should talk about that.
That vulgar lump of a man who just laughed about D-Day kept a book by Adolf Hitler at his bedside, according to his first wife. That Hitler reader is the first president of the United States to say that D-Day was not a great day. Donald Trump said, this was not a great day for you. That's because Donald Trump has no idea what Hitler was doing to every German soldier, to every citizen of Germany. The generals weren't the only ones who thought that Hitler was insane by that time. And so the German chancellor had to explain to the ignorant president that it was no fun living under the madman dictatorship of Adolf Hitler, and that D-Day was the beginning of the liberation of Germany from Nazi dictatorship. The people who were suffering the worst on D-Day were not in battle. They were in Hitler's death camps. And D-Day meant that some of them were going to survive. Some of them would not starve to death by the time General Eisenhower's troops liberated the death camps. Some of them would not have already been put to death. Some of them would hang on. You can spend a lifetime hearing people make references to D-Day, people who were alive at the time, people who remember it, and people born long after D-Day, and never see someone smile or laugh about it, say anything about it that makes them laugh. That's the kind of disrespectful, ignorant behavior that you can only get from a Hitler reader like Donald Trump. Donald Trump suffered in silence for 3 days after Elon Musk attacked him, calling Donald Trump's Republican budget bill a disgusting abomination. But today, almost exactly 3 days later to the hour when Elon Musk attacked him and issued his first tweet against Donald Trump that began with the words, "I just can't take it anymore." Today, prompted by a reporter, Donald Trump finally broke his cowardly silence, and then the insanity really started.
Look, you know, I've always liked Elon, and it's always very surprised. You saw the words he had for me, and he hasn't said anything about me that's bad. I'd rather have him criticize me than the bill, because the bill is incredible.
Donald Trump got his wish. Elon Musk decided to criticize him directly.
Elon knew the inner workings of this bill better than almost anybody sitting here, better than you people. He knew everything about it. He had no problem with it. All of a sudden he had a problem, and he only developed the problem when he found out that we're going to have to cut the EV mandate, because that's billions and billions of dollars, and it really is unfair. He knew it better than almost anybody, and he never had a problem until right after he left. And if you saw the statements he made about me, which I'm sure you can get very easily, it's very fresh on tape, he said the most beautiful things about me. And he hasn't said bad about me personally, but I'm sure that'll be next.
Well, he got that right. Elon Musk then live tweeted, "Whatever, keep the EV solar incentive cuts in the bill, even though no oil and gas subsidies are touched, very unfair, but ditch the mountain of disgusting pork in the bill." Elon Musk did not actually identify the so-called pork in the bill. He also denied that he knew what was in the bill, saying, "This bill was never shown to me even once and was passed in the dead of night so fast that almost no one in Congress could even read it." Elon Musk tweeted that over a video of Donald Trump speaking in the Oval Office minutes before Elon Musk tweeted it. And then Elon Musk told Donald Trump what Elon Musk believes Donald Trump owes him. "Without me, Trump would have lost the election, Dems would control the House, and Republicans would be 51-49 in the Senate. Such ingratitude." And that is a perfectly reasonable political argument, perfectly reasonable political case to make about how that election was won and lost. We've all spent our lives hearing how much money matters in politics. Money is everything in politics and in campaigns. And that makes it entirely likely that when the richest person in the world decides to make the biggest political contribution in history, it would make a difference, a decisive difference. Donald Trump in the Oval Office with the German chancellor beside him humiliated himself by desperately insisting to the world that he would have won without Elon Musk.
I would have won Pennsylvania easily anyway.
We'll never know. We'll never know if Donald Trump could have won that election without all of Elon Musk's money, the biggest political contributor in history. Imagine what would have happened if Elon Musk sent that money in the other direction. We don't know. And then Elon Musk threatened to create a new political party, a political party that would obviously pull votes away from the Republican Party. Is it time to create a new political party in America that actually represents the 80% in the middle? There aren't 80% in the middle, of course, but there are enough Elon Musk followers who could turn against Republicans and give the House of Representatives to the Democrats next year, along with the Senate and the presidency in the election after that. That's some of what is at stake in the most insane public outburst that has ever occurred between a president of the United States and his biggest money contributor. Donald Trump then took to his social media site and posted, "Elon was wearing thin. I asked him to leave. I took away his EV mandate that forced everyone to buy electric cars that nobody else wanted, that he knew for months I was going to do, and he just went crazy!" So there's Donald Trump saying, I asked him to leave. That's Donald Trump saying he fired Elon Musk. That's what we were reporting on this program last night. White House sources indicating, by the way, none of them believable, just as Donald Trump is not believable, that Elon Musk was fired. We will never know. Did Donald Trump fire Elon Musk because Donald Trump's a pathological liar? Elon Musk is a pathological liar. But does Elon Musk feel that he was fired? Maybe. And Donald Trump was also claiming in that idiotic tweet that we were all forced to buy electric cars. We who have, I am among them, who have never purchased an electric car. And then Donald Trump says, the other guy is crazy. Puts it all in capital letters. The other guy's crazy. Craziest president in history says the other guy's crazy, to which Elon Musk says, what I've been saying about almost everything Donald Trump has said since he first opened his mouth in 2011 about President Obama's birth certificate. Elon Musk said, such an obvious lie. So sad. And so there we are. Day 136 of the Trump presidency, Elon Musk calling Donald Trump what I have been calling Donald Trump since 2011 on this program, a liar. Donald Trump has been a liar every single day of his political career. And Elon Musk has probably known that. And Elon Musk has done almost as much lying about political issues in America as Donald Trump. And so it's war between Musk and Trump. Steve Bannon, a Trump loyalist who was fired from the first Trump White House, but served a longer run in that White House than Elon Musk did, said, people, including myself, are recommending to the president that he pull every contract associated with Elon Musk and that major investigations start immediately, one, into his immigration status, his security clearance, and his history of drug abuse, two, into his relationship with the Chinese Communist Party, including but not limited to trying to force a briefing of highly top secret war plans with China at the Pentagon, three, and into his involvement with attempting to get President Xi to the inauguration. So now, Trump world wants to investigate Elon Musk. Donald Trump announced a completely ridiculous investigation, apparently to find out how old Joe Biden was when he was president of the United States. But the Biden investigation news did not turn out to be the investigation news of the day, because Trump cheerleaders now want to investigate Elon Musk. Donald Trump then posted, the easiest way to save money in our budget, billions and billions of dollars, is to terminate Elon's governmental subsidies and contracts. That was Donald Trump's way of trying to shut up Elon Musk. That was Donald Trump's big shot at Elon Musk. That was his biggest shot. shut down the government contracts. And Donald Trump's biggest shot of the day against Elon Musk in his war against Elon Musk did not work. Because after Donald Trump threatened to cut off all of Musk's government contracts, Elon Musk then went Twitter nuclear. Time to drop the really big bomb. Real Donald Trump is in the Epstein files. That is the real reason they have not been made public. Have a nice day, DJT exclamation point. And just to top that off, Elon Musk said yes to a follower of his who said, President versus Elon, who wins? My money's on Elon. Trump should be impeached and J.D. Vance should replace him. Yes, said Elon Musk to that. Impeach Donald Trump. And so they have both fired their biggest shots at each other. The question for Donald Trump, who spent the last 3 days in fearful silence about Elon Musk, is, can he crush the richest person in the world? Or should he beg for a truce with Elon Musk? The Epstein files are, of course, the criminal investigative files on Donald Trump's old friend, the pedophile Jeffrey Epstein, who killed himself in prison. Twitter is now filled with the video of that dancing friendship with that pedophile, thanks to Elon Musk pushing the video of the Trump-Epstein friendship on Twitter. You can expect to see more and more of that on Twitter. And so we have no idea what's coming next. We have no idea what happens tomorrow. But we do know that Donald Trump will be humiliated, and we do know that Elon Musk will continue to suffer huge financial losses, as he did today with the Tesla stock price crashing, losing $152 billion in market value, thanks to Elon Musk's madness today, which will win him no fans among good and decent people who oppose Donald Trump and who will never buy a Tesla again, because they will never forget what Elon Musk did with the money that they paid him for their Teslas. They will never forget what Elon Musk did during his worship Donald Trump period. Good and decent people will never forget Bill Gates' description of Elon Musk as the world's richest man killing the world's poorest children, because that is exactly what Elon Musk did and what he's continuing to do tonight. And those children are dying tonight because of Elon Musk. And so two madmen are at war, and we have no idea what happens next. But we can only hope that it helps derail the mission of non-stop cruelty that the Trump White House is visiting on this country and the world every day.
And as I say amen to that, I hope the same prayer he said also applies to Nigeria and the mayhem that Bola Ahmed Tinubu, Wike, and Akpoti and their fellow crooks are dealing on Nigerians every day. Ladies and gentlemen, once again, this is Fred Wonko coming to you from our studios in Chicago with another edition of Bold Talk on LNTV. And until next time, good night and God bless.